Today, I'd like to tell you a story of how Bright Angel Trail got its name. In Grand Canyon National Park, Bright Angel is by far the most famous trail. And a lot of names around Grand Canyon are attributed to John Wesley Powell and the Geologic Survey that started in the 1860s and 1870s. And in Powell's book, there is a story about how Bright Angel Creek received that name. But the trail itself is often just assumed to be named after that creek. And in many ways it is, but today we're going to look at a different story. This is coming to us from about 100 plus years ago from a legendary storyteller named John Hance. Now, John Hance was not the first geologist of the Grand Canyon, but he was the first white settler of the Grand Canyon. Outside of Native Americans, he was the first person to go there and live long term. And like many of Grand Canyon's early pioneers, John Hance was essentially a miner turned tour guide. So by the time tourists started showing up, John Hance had a collection of wild stories he would tell people. Now, often these were stories that were so wild you would call them tall tales. And Theodore Roosevelt once said, John Hance is the best liar he's ever met. So if John Hance didn't have the answer to a question, he often just made it up. So keep that in mind. This story I'm going to tell you is coming from John Hance. It's told to us by a man named Hogaboom, who was a reporter for the Los Angeles Herald, but he took many trips to the Grand Canyon. In another story I'd like to tell, he was the first person to drive a car to the Grand Canyon. But today, Hogaboom is asking John Hance, where did the name Bright Angel come from? It is a good name, but it's kind of a strange name. So the story I'm about to tell you is relayed to us by a newspaper reporter from an original Grand Canyon pioneer. And the story is told from John Hance's perspective, so that's how I'm going to read it to you, as I was John Hance. Yeah, Bucky O'Neill gave it that name, but it started with a girl. We never did know where she come from, nor how she got here, but all at once, she was just here. 'Peared like she'd come to stay. She was sickly, though. You could see that. But she never complained. Always cheerful, just as doggone bright as a sunshiny morning. God, she was beautiful, too. Her hair was like a streak of sunlight streaming through a winder. Skin soft as velvet, white and pink. Didn't look like someone meant for this world. Leastwise, not an outlandish place like this. The boys all fell in love with her. Pete Barry over at Grandview, Bass down at the ferry. And I guess I had a tender spot for her myself. She used to go down that trail near every day, walking slow, staring out at all the wonders in the canyon with them big blue eyes of hers, like looking at little patches of the sky. The boys would stand on the rim, watching her shrink to nothing but a speck of color along the trail. Sometimes Bucky's eyes would get a little moist. I don't know, mine too. We'd look at her and feel she wasn't going to last long. One day, she went down that trail and never came back. There was a sort of haze in the canyon that day, and long about sundown, the light hit it slantwise and colored it up like gold. Couldn't see far, but Bucky claimed he saw something, floating up through the mist, white and transparent like. Said he knew it was her. There wasn't no doubt after that. She was an angel. So Bucky named the trail the Bright Angel, and that's how it came to be. That's how Captain Hance told the story, at least, though he also was a man who once claimed to have dug out the entire Grand Canyon, so believe this Bright Angel tale if you want. I hope you enjoyed the video. Just a quick story about how Bright Angel Trail got its name. I don't want to say this is the definitive story because, again, John Hance stories are often less fact, more legend. So I think the story is a good tale of how this trail may have gotten its name. But if you guys have heard other stories or you have more information about the Bright Angel Trail's history, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. If you like the video, you can like and subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you guys in the next chapter.